time for Dave 101.
All right, evidence. What is it? Seriously, what is evidence? Because evidence is everything and nothing at the same time. For instance, what I believe is evidence may not be what you believe is evidence. And how it ties into our world is significant. Because more and more people these days are not wanting to bring their evidence to the public. Why? Well, let's say, for instance, you had a smoking gun picture or video. The internet, and social media especially, has become absolutely callous and ruthless regarding evidence. If that person hasn't found it, tested it, looked at it personally, they don't believe you. Long gone are the days of being able to put a Sasquatch video up or a high quality UFO video or a video of a dogman or alien being or a ghost and people saying, wow, that is amazing. Yet this is what we do. This is what it's all about. It's about collecting and gathering the evidence to try and prove the unbelievable. That's why we're all into this entire mystery of ghosts, UFOs, aliens, cryptids, consciousness, near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences, and every gnome tending your garden in between. We want to believe because for many of us, we've had an experience that we cannot explain. Yet, according to the watchdogs around social media, who have become, for some reason, more than skeptical, our evidence is no longer good enough. So let's count it down. 1, we no longer want to accept anecdotal evidence of stories from people because, as we all know, the brain is imperfect. Therefore, we shouldn't rely on anecdotal stories. Number 2, photography. Well, we can't rely on photography, according to the skeptics, because Photoshop has become so easy to use, you can do it right on your handheld phone. Yes, our smartphones have made it easier to manipulate Sasquatch, ghosts, and aliens. Number 3, video. Wow. With CGI and the younger generations being way more savvy with apps and programs, well, we can't believe UFOs either. Just can't. Why? Because they are easily manipulated. So gone are videos. And number 4, audio. Well, audio can be edited. And a good audio editor can sure make it sound real, putting strings of words together into sentences for EVPs, putting strings of sounds together for wood knocks. So we can't trust audio either. So what can we trust? Who can we trust? Well, it's turned out to ourselves and the people whom we have clicked with. Gone are the days where we will ever see that next Patterson-Gimlin film, unless it's from a scientist or unless it's from the government itself. But you know what? The chances of us believing them are slim and none. And it's sad because it's making researchers withhold the smoking guns that we've already wanted and we believe that are out there and we'll never get to see. This goes way beyond the Pentagon holding back UFO videos that they have because we'll never see them in the first place. But think about it for a second. If you had that hot button dogman video or paranormal video where you literally watch a ghost walk right through your wall from your kitchen to your living room, or you are in the forest and you watch and come across a town of little people, like Gulliver's Travels back in the day, what do you do with it? The sad answer is nothing. Nothing. You're not going to make $1 million off of it. All you're doing is setting yourself up for disgust. Let's look at the reality of this. Bob Gimlin from the Patterson-Gimlin film has been living over 50 years in torture, in hell. His children had to live with it. His grandchildren had to live with it. And probably his great-grandchildren. All because people don't want to believe that the video is real. He has suffered through numerous death threats, threats to his family, questioning his sanity, people who've never met him before back in the day, phoning him up and arguing to tell the truth or they would harm him or expose him as a fraud. Would you want that? Would you want your family going through that? Personally, I would not. It's easy to carve up a video these days. It's easy to carve up a photograph. Technology has brought this upon us. So the question is, if you're an investigator out there, what are you doing with your evidence? How do you solve mysteries if you have no one to turn your evidence through? This goes way beyond critical thinking, because we do have to be our own worst skeptics and our own worst critics. Look at me. I thought when I went out in the forest that I had found 9 Sasquatch prints. Turned out only 1 out of the 9 ended up being a print. The next 3 were shoe prints. The rest of them, according to my buddy Paul and I, we couldn't tell, but we're leaning towards a shoe. So how can we tell the difference between the shoe print and the 1 Sasquatch print? Well, that's easy. Those are called toes. But I originally told our audience that we had found 9. Upon further research, being our own critical skeptics, we have to make sure that if we make an error, that we own up to it. But there are many in this field who just don't want to own up to things. They just want to ridicule and rip things apart. I don't understand the purpose of them wasting time other than the fact that they are so non-believing in the phenomena and what is going on that they don't want anybody else to believe. Or they are so passionate about the subject that they don't want anybody else to succeed unless it goes through them. Either way is not fair. But we need to be better as a field. We need to be able to accept someone's testimony. Why, when it comes to UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, do we ask for more evidence than what is needed in a court of law to prosecute someone? Think about that for a second. The evidence that we have for Sasquatch, even though we don't have a body, is enough to prove it exists. Same as Dogman. It happens all the time in courts around the world, where you get some scumbag who murders someone, gets rid of their body, refuses to say where that body is buried or hidden, yet is still convicted of murder without the body. Because evidence, testimony. Yet when it comes to the cryptid world, the ghost world, the UFO world, us amateur sleuths and judges are more quickly to dismiss anything. It baffles me. It baffles me. I would love to see a number of Sasquatch researchers like Duke and Carter Bouchard and many others stand in a court of law in front of a real judge, and the skeptics will throw them on the other side. And I would love for a judge to decide. Because I think, in fact, I know that the judge would likely side with the researchers. And if nobody is going to believe our research, why do we do it? Well, we do it for fun. We do it for curiosity. We do it because we have a passion to learn more about the experience that we had. So my advice to the community out there is twofold. For those who are skeptical, for those who want to tear everything apart, what is your point? What are you really trying to gain? Well, I'm trying to gain credibility in the community and get rid of bad evidence. So you're a self-proclaimed police officer of the field. Okay, so let's just toss you to the side because your opinion, no matter anymore, means anything. Then you get the other side who will say, well, I'm just tired of the BS. I want the real evidence, and I haven't seen any. Well, what's real evidence? What's real proof? You notice it always comes down to that proof adage. What is proof? So the next time, whether you're an amateur like me or whether you take this very seriously, what I want you to do is this. I want you to think about how you are affecting your own community. How are your actions making people not talk and keeping people in the dark with their photographs, their evidence, because they don't want the Gimlin treatment? They don't want the Elizondo treatment. They don't want the treatment that many others have had, all because they released a photograph or a video. Think about it. 50 plus years and torturing a family still continues today for the Gimlins. Would you want that happening to you? Would you want that happening in your life? Would you want strangers sending you letters saying that you're a liar and a scumbag? Happens every day. All because some amateurs don't want to believe the story. That's your Dave 101. If you're on YouTube watching this, do us a favor. Make sure you hit that subscribe first and foremost. But second, leave a comment. Let me know what you think.